Welcome back to the Oakland Athletics franchise for another edition of the monthly recap, as we are going to be going over the month of June. As we have gone through June now, we are heading into July, and at the end of June, the Athletics are sitting at 43-39 on the year, which is 5 games out of first place in the AL West, and they are third in the AL West, but they are also 1 game back in the American League wild card. So we do have a pretty good shot at making the wild card. Of course, there are 3 other teams, or 2 other teams, 3 including us, that are fighting for the wild card in our division, as the Astros and Rangers are also trying to go for it, as the Angels lead the AL West. And if any of these guys catch up to the Angels, then you can swap out those guys with the Angels, and it's just, there's always going to be 3 teams from our division competing for the wild card, so it's going to be a tough race down the line. And that is why I felt like we needed to make a trade, a pretty decent trade, and we needed to improve the pitching. So what I did was I went out and traded Kevin Gausman, the Orioles starting pitcher. The Orioles are a very bad team in this year. They've been, I think, for the past couple of years in this, as I think they're like 20-something games out of first place, so there's really no chance for them to make the playoffs. They're pretty much already out of it. And the Orioles are going to be giving up Kevin Gausman, and we are going to be giving them Abraham Toth, Alan Webster, and Felix Doubront. Abraham Toth is the main piece of this trade, as he's a 70 overall shortstop, B potential, 21 years old, who's going to be pretty darn good down the line. While Alan Webster is a 74 overall starting pitcher with deep B potential, he's 28 years old, and Felix Doubront is a pretty solid reliever. With a C potential, though, he's a lefty at the bullpen for that Orioles team, and he'll probably be on the Major League roster for them. And now, this trade happening does not mean the end of trades for this Athletics team here at the trade deadline, because we are at the beginning of July making this trade. So that means that we still have pretty much the entire month of July to work on another trade, or possibly 2. I think there's going to be 1 more trade. It's probably going to be pitching related as well, because I feel like our lineup is, even though they're not really hitting right now, this lineup is good enough to hit. This lineup is built to hit. We have enough bats in this lineup. I think it would be silly to try to trade for somebody and then have like somebody sit on the bench because they're expecting to be an everyday player, so they have like a 72 overall because they're pissed off, and then that affects the team. And it's just not worth it to go and try to trade for some superstar outfielder and completely wipe out our farm system when I feel like this lineup is good enough to hit as it is. They're struggling right now, but baseball is a game of streaks. This game, right now, they're not going for the hottest of streaks, but baseball is a game of streaks, and I'm confident that this team is going to be able to turn things around, especially since we have an entire second half of the season left. Moving on to the injuries for this Athletics team, as Steve Pearce is really the only one to talk about, as Steve Pearce has 1 to 6 days left with a broken leg. So he'll be back in the lineup here early on in July, so that'll help out our lineup as well, and hopefully that can jumpstart some action here and providing some runs. As far as guys who've been sent down to AAA, Henderson Alvarez has been sent down to AAA Nashville to make room for Gausman on the roster in the rotation, because Alvarez, I feel like he's just been bad the entire season long. Montero was the other choice to send down, but Montero, he just had a couple bad starts at the beginning, and that's really affecting his ERA. But recently, and really ever since those couple bad starts, he's been pitching really well, and it pretty much seems like every time I see when he pitches, when I pitch with him, or when I see the Sims, he doesn't give up a lot of runs and just gets the job done. So I felt like sending down Alvarez, because it seems like every time he pitches, no matter if it's with me or with the Sims, he's just getting rocked every start. So Alvarez has been sent down to AAA, and Montero is kept up to make room for Gausman. And then there's also Matt Olson, who was sent down earlier in the season, as you guys know, as he is hitting .252 with 5 home runs and 14 RBI and 107 at-bats. That's AAA. And then Billy Burns, who was also sent down to AAA, is hitting .273 with 8 RBI, 8 runs, and 5 stolen bases in 66 at-bats with AAA Nashville. Not exactly, neither of those guys are really doing anything that's impressing me to be like, yeah, let's call them back up. If any of them coming back up is really a thing, it's probably going to be Olson. But Burns is not exactly making a case for his spot on a Major League roster. Moving on to the league leaders section for this A's team, Chris Davis is 11th in home runs as he's hitting .259 with a .318 OBP this year so far, 16 bombs at 35 RBI, and those 16 bombs are 11th in the American League. Jarrod Dyson is hitting .287 with a .353 OBP, being the leadoff man against right-handed pitching. He's got 15 stolen bases and 23 runs as well, and those 15 swipe bags are enough to put him at 6th in the American League. Sean Doolittle, moving on to the pitching side of things now, has a 2.86 ERA and 26 saves, and those 26 saves have him tied for second place in the American League in saves. While Sonny Gray is 6-5 on the year with a 2.38 ERA, so it's a pretty solid ERA, and it is 4th in the American League, and he's pretty much just dominating everyone he faces at this point. Not exactly dominating like Tanaka, where he has a sub-2 ERA for the Yankees, but Sonny Gray is getting the job done as the number 1 fear for the Oakland Athletics. Taking a look at the starting rotation, the bullpen, and the lineups, the rotation 1 to 5 is Sonny Gray, Kevin Gausman, Jesse Hahn, Rafael Montero, and J.R. Newman, while on the bullpen, it is the middle relievers are Arodys Vizcaíno, Fernando Rodriguez, Alex Torres, and Liam Hendricks, the Aussie, while the setup men are Tyler Clippard and Ryan Madsen, the veteran Ryan Madsen, and the closer is Sean Doolittle. While the lineup against right-handed pitchers is center fielder Jarrod Dyson, first baseman Stephen Vogt, third base Yangervis Solarte, right field Chris Davis, DH Jose Bautista, left field Mark Canha, catching is Ramon Benitez, second base Jose Miguel Fernandez, and shortstop is Franklin Barreto. While the lineup against left-handed pitching is second baseman Jackie Allen, center fielder Monty Mason, third baseman Yangervis Solarte, right fielder Chris Davis, DH Jose Bautista, first base Darren Ruff, left field Mark Canha, catching is Stephen Vogt, and then the shortstop is Franklin Barreto. And now, of course, the thing that everybody always wants to know about, the MLB Draft. That happened in the month of June, so since this is the June recap, we are going over the MLB Draft. So, first things first, the first guy we drafted is a B potential starting pitcher in Will Braun. Then moving on to the next round, we took a second baseman named Kenji Liu, who is a D potential. We did not sign him because he is not very good at all. Relief pitcher Caleb Camacho is a C potential. He was signed. Shortstop Lewis Huff, or Lewis Hugh, I'm assuming it's Huff. Lewis Huff is a C potential. We signed him. Chris Morales, another shortstop, is a D potential. He was not signed. Relief pitcher Rob Castro was then taken, and he is a C potential, and he was signed to the Athletics. So these guys will be on the roster next year, and the guys who were not signed will not be on the roster next year because they are bad baseball players. And with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for the June recap of this Athletics franchise. The A's are sitting at 43-39 heading into the month of July. Here's the All-Star break is in July, and there's probably going to be at least one more trade to go over in the July recap. So with that being said, I've been your host, Jersey Born, and I'm saying goodbye.